Juggling rivalries, amends, and warnings. What's next for Genoa City? The Young and the Restless never lets its fans rest for long, and the episodes slated for September 17th and September 18th are proof that Genoa City remains a boiling pot of rivalries, fragile truces, manipulations, and secrets. Spoilers tease that Victor Newman, as always, is multitasking his way through rivalries and opponents. Meanwhile, Kane Ashby has his own agenda, attempting to secure both allies and redemption through amends-making. At the same time, Jack Abbott steps into a dangerous role as the voice of warning, perhaps overreaching into conflicts that may consume him. Then, moving into the next day, fans are promised a shift in dynamics. Mariah Copeland goes head-to-head with Daniel Romalotti Jr., Kane Ashby uses his charisma in surprising ways, and Jack Abbott, already juggling conflicts of his own, desperately seeks help to save Billy from his downward spiral. Together, these storylines promise both continuity and fresh complications, pushing Genoa City's most powerful families into uncharted emotional terrain. Victor Newman, juggling rivalries like a master tactician. When spoilers suggest that Victor Newman, Eric Braeden, is juggling rivalries, the phrasing alone is enough to send chills down the spine of any Genoa City resident. Victor isn't a man who deals in half measures. When he sees an opening, he doesn't just move a chess piece, he tilts the entire board in his favor. This week, the mustache is once again positioned as the center of the storm, balancing rivalries between the Abbotts, Kane, and his own inner circle. At the heart of this power play is the mysterious AI program, a tool that could reshape Genoa City's business landscape. Though Kane Ashby, Billy Flynn, seems to have a hand on this volatile weapon, Victor's involvement means the stakes just skyrocketed. This isn't simply about business competition, it's about legacy, domination, and the kind of ruthless empire building that has defined Victor's career for decades. The spoilers suggest that Victor has already dismissed Abbott Communications as a target. That failed venture remains a sore spot for the Abbotts, but Victor doesn't waste ammunition on ghosts. Instead, speculation suggests that his attention may turn toward Jabot, the pride of the Abbott family. With Jack Abbott, Peter Bergman, vulnerable, distracted by family conflicts, and emotionally tied up in Billy's latest misadventures, Jabot is as exposed as it has been in years. Victor thrives in moments of weakness, he doesn't just exploit them, he engineers them. With Billy spiraling, Kane scheming, and Jack distracted, Jabot may find itself under attack not from a competitor but from the master manipulator who has been dismantling rivals for decades. Fans know that when Victor decides to target Jabot, he rarely leaves the battlefield without blood on his hands. Kane Ashby, redemption or deception? While Victor plays the role of master manipulator, Kane Ashby is walking a thinner line between redemption and manipulation. Spoilers indicate that Kane will attempt to broker peace or at least nudge Billy Abbott toward reconciliation with Jill Abbott, Jess Walton. On the surface, this looks like a noble act, a man trying to mend fences in a family that has been torn apart by betrayals and grudges. But is Kane really motivated by honor? Or is this another one of his carefully constructed moves, designed to present himself as the reformed outsider seeking acceptance? Kane's history with Jill is complicated, to say the least. He once faked being her son, a deception that would have broken most relationships beyond repair. And yet, Jill, ever forgiving, sometimes to her detriment, gave him a pass. Contrast that with Jill's strained dynamic with Billy, where lies and missteps have stacked up into a nearly immovable wall of resentment. Kane knows this dynamic, and he knows how to leverage it. Encouraging Billy to reconcile with Jill could be seen as selfless. But it could also be interpreted as Kane subtly inserting himself as a bridge between them, strengthening his own role as an indispensable figure in the Chancellor Abbott-Newman nexus. Kane has always been most dangerous when underestimated, and his sudden focus on redemption should be treated with suspicion. Jack Abbott's warning. Jack Abbott has never shied away from issuing warnings, particularly when Victor Newman is involved. Spoilers tease that Jack will warn Nikki Newman, Melody Thomas Scott, about something significant. The question is, what? There are a few possible angles here. Jack could be warning Nikki about Kane's growing influence, especially if Kane has designs on Chancellor Industries or any other corporate power base. Or Jack may be attempting to sound the alarm about Victor's underhanded tactics, particularly if he has caught wind of the AI program and its potential to destabilize Genoa City's business ecosystem. But there's also a more personal layer to Jack's warning. He and Nikki share a complicated history, full of love, betrayal, friendship, and lingering respect. When Jack issues a warning to Nikki, it's not just business, it's personal. Could Jack be trying to protect her from being dragged too deeply into Victor's latest web? Whatever the case, Jack's warnings rarely come without consequence. If Nikki takes him seriously, she may find herself in conflict with Victor, a dangerous place to be. If she dismisses him, she risks being blindsided by whatever chaos is coming. Either way, Jack has set the stage for a storm that will sweep through the Newmans-Abbotts, and beyond. Mariah versus Daniel, a brewing confrontation. Shifting gears to the following day, spoilers suggest that Mariah Copeland, Cameron Grimes, will confront Daniel Romalotti Jr., Michael Graziardi. This confrontation is layered with emotional history, unresolved tension, and moral dilemmas. Mariah, still reeling from her fractured family dynamics and haunted by a violent secret, appears poised to demand something from Daniel, specifically, that he back away from Tessa Porter, Kate Fairbanks, and Aria. This demand is bold, considering Mariah was the one who pulled away from her family. The audacity of asking Daniel to essentially step aside makes this confrontation particularly explosive. But Mariah's behavior isn't just about jealousy or control. It may be rooted in fear. She has confessed to Tessa that she tried to kill a man, and while the details remain hazy, the survival of that man means her secret is at risk of exposure. If Daniel is unknowingly moving closer to the truth, or if his bond with Tessa threatens to unearth Mariah's darkest deed, her demand may be less about protecting her relationship and more about silencing potential exposure. Daniel, meanwhile, is placed in a moral dilemma. Does he honor Mariah's plea, even though it seems unreasonable and manipulative? Or does he stand firm, refusing to let Mariah dictate his choices? Daniel's decision here could have ripple effects not just for him, but for Tessa, Aria, and the entire Copeland-Porter family dynamic. Kane's irresistible charm. Back on the Kane front, spoilers for September 18 suggest he will pivot from business rivalries to personal pursuits, particularly in his interactions with Lily Winters, Crystal Khalil. Kane and Lily's relationship history is a tapestry of passion, betrayal, love, and heartbreak. For Kane to attempt to charm Lily again is both bold and desperate. The question is, does Lily buy into it? After everything they've been through, Lily has every reason to resist Kane's charm. And yet, Victor has subtly suggested that Lily cozy up to Kane in order to learn his plans. This means that while Kane may think he's successfully reeling Lily back into his orbit, Lily could be playing her own game, pretending to be charmed in order to uncover his schemes. This dynamic sets up a fascinating cat-and-mouse game. Who is conning whom? Kane may believe he's reasserting control, but Lily has proven time and again that she is stronger and more resilient than he gives her credit for. If she's playing along, Kane may be walking straight into a trap of his own making. Jack Abbott's plea, a brother's desperation. On September 18, Jack Abbott finds himself overwhelmed by Sally Spectra's, Courtney Hope, bombshell revelation about Billy. Despite his tough talk, Jack cannot detach himself from his brother's downward spiral. Spoilers indicate that Jack will seek help from Victoria Newman, Amelia Heinley, appealing to her to step in where he cannot. This plea highlights Jack's desperation. He knows Billy is on the edge, possibly of self-destruction, and is grasping at any straw that might pull his brother back. But Victoria is no longer Billy's confidant. Their relationship, once passionate and toxic in equal measure, has cooled into estrangement. Jack's decision to involve her may be his way of admitting he has no other options. Victoria's response will be key. Does she risk reopening old wounds to help Billy, or does she distance herself, leaving him to face his demons alone? Either choice carries consequences not just for Billy, but for the entire Abbott and Newman families. Conclusion: a city on edge. Across these two episodes, the canvas of The Young and the Restless becomes richer, darker, and more intricate. Victor Newman maneuvers like a master strategist, Kane Ashby walks the line between redemption and deception, Jack Abbott positions himself as both a warning bell and a desperate brother, and Mariah Copeland struggles to hold on to secrets that could destroy her. Each storyline feels interconnected, as though Genoa City itself is a chessboard where every move threatens to topple another piece. Rivalries are being juggled, amends are being sought, warnings are being issued, and personal confrontations are bubbling over. Together, they create a portrait of a city perpetually on the edge of explosion. The question is not whether these storylines will collide, it's when. And when they do, Genoa City may never look the same again. What's next for Genoa City? How will rivalries, amendments, and warnings be managed? Extended deep dive. The strength of the young and the restless has always been in its ability to take seemingly small rivalries and personal choices and spin them into citywide earthquakes that ripple through families, corporations, and love lives alike. The episodes for September the 17th and 18th may look like a standard midweek build-up on the surface, but scratch a little deeper and what we see is the foundation of several intersecting wars. At the center, Victor Newman, Kane Ashby, Jack Abbott, and Mariah Copeland. Their choices are less like individual plot beats and more like interconnected dominoes. Once one falls, the rest are dragged into the chaos whether they're ready or not. Let's break down why each of these arcs matters and how they could converge. Victor Newman, a man who never plays fair. Victor's so-called juggling isn't just multitasking, it's a way of reminding everyone that he has no true rivals because he operates on a completely different level. Where most Genoa City titans play business chess, Victor rewrites the rulebook mid-match. The introduction of this AI program, a weapon disguised as technology, gives him leverage unlike anything he's wielded before. Consider what AI means in the context of Genoa City. The city thrives on legacy companies, long-standing media ventures, and old money businesses like Jabot, Newman Enterprises, and Chancellor Winters. These companies survive not only on product but on reputation and stability. One leak of sensitive data, one shift in market manipulation, one AI-driven takedown, and decades of legacy could crumble. Victor doesn't just want to win, he wants to devastate. He thrives when his enemies are scrambling to pick up pieces, crawling back to him for mercy. That's what makes the idea of Jabot being targeted so chilling. Jack Abbott has worked tirelessly to protect Jabot as not just a company but a legacy for the Abbott family. If Victor destabilizes Jabot with AI manipulation, hitting supply chains, investor confidence, or brand reputation, Jack wouldn't just be facing a business loss. He'd be facing the unraveling of his father's dream. And Victor knows that. Which is exactly why he'd do it. Victor's strategy is both brilliant and cruel because of how he uses timing. With Billy vulnerable and Jack distracted, Victor wouldn't even need to throw the knockout punch, just a subtle push at the right moment. The question is whether Kane's involvement makes this more complicated. Is Victor using Kane as a pawn, or does Kane actually believe he's on equal footing with the mustache? History tells us pawns don't survive long when Victor is the one moving the pieces. Kane Ashby, a man who wears masks. Kane's attempt to broker peace between Billy and Jill is the perfect example of how this character operates. His motives are always wrapped in ambiguity. He presents one face to the public, another to his family, and yet another to his rivals. It's survival instinct mixed with ambition. On one level, encouraging Billy to reconnect with Jill seems almost touching. Jill is the kind of mother who thrives on second chances but is slow to forgive when it comes to Billy's endless mistakes. If Kane could truly help mend that relationship, it would show growth. But longtime fans know Kane's selflessness often conceals self-interest. Why now? Why push for reconciliation at this precise moment? The most likely answer, Jill's approval. Jill still has an impact on the business community in Genoa City, and her influence extends far beyond family dinners. If Kane can position himself as the son who gets it, the one who helps mend fences instead of burning them, he becomes indispensable to Jill. That could give him leverage in Chancellor Winters and beyond. But there's another wrinkle. Kane knows Billy. He knows Billy's resentment, his reckless streak, and his instinct to bristle against anything Kane suggests. By planting the idea of reconciliation, Kane sets Billy up to either accept and appear weak or refuse and look like the stubborn child Jill often accuses him of being. Either way, Kane comes out looking like the better man. That's his brand of manipulation, winning even when he loses. Jack Abbott, a warning that could cost him everything. Jack has made a career of being both a protector and a pawn. He is compelled by his heart to issue bold declarations and warnings. However, these warnings rarely stop a disaster. Rather, they merely place him in the crossfire. Jack once more positions himself against Victor by warning Nikki Newman. This isn't new territory for him, but it's dangerous nonetheless. Nikki and Jack's bond is a double-edged sword. On one side, it shows his loyalty and respect for a woman he once loved deeply. On the other, it paints a target on his back because Victor never tolerates interference, especially from Jack. The ambiguity of Jack's warning is what makes it fascinating. If it's about Victor's schemes, Nikki may dismiss it as more Abbott paranoia. If it's about Kane, Nikki may wonder why Jack is so invested. And if it's personal, if Jack is subtly warning Nikki about her own entanglement with Victor, then the conversation veers into intimate territory that could reignite old sparks. Imagine Victor's fury if he suspects Jack of not just warning Nikki but possibly rekindling a protective, or romantic, bond with her. That's the kind of personal-business hybrid feud that The Young and the Restless thrives on. Jack's warning isn't just dialogue, it's a trigger that could explode into a full-blown Newman-Abbott war, one more personal than corporate. Mariah and Daniel, a showdown with moral weight. The September 18th confrontation between Mariah Copeland and Daniel Romalotti Jr. might sound like a personal squabble, but the undercurrent is much darker. Mariah's demand that Daniel back off from Tessa and Aria exposes her deepest insecurity and guilt. Mariah has always struggled with belonging. Whether as Sharon's daughter, as Tessa's wife, or as Aria's mother, she feels like she has to fight for her place. Daniel's presence threatens that sense of belonging not because he's malicious, but because he represents stability and acceptance. If Tessa and Aria find comfort in Daniel, where does that leave Mariah? But the confrontation also hints at something bigger, the secret about her violent past. If Mariah tried to kill someone and that man survived, she lives with the ticking time bomb of exposure. Daniel could inadvertently get too close to the truth. Her demand isn't just about love, it's about control. It's about silencing the one person she fears could unravel her carefully rebuilt life. Daniel's response will be crucial. He's historically empathetic, but he's also principled. If he sees Mariah's request as unfair, he may push back, and that pushback could fracture not only their relationship but the entire Porter Copeland circle. Imagine the fallout if Tessa learns Mariah tried to control Daniel in this way. Trust, already fragile, could shatter completely. Kane and Lily, the dangerous game of charm. Spoilers teasing Kane's renewed charm offensive toward Lily Winters add another layer of intrigue. Kane has always relied on his charisma to smooth over lies, but Lily is no longer the naive woman who once fell for it. She's seasoned, hardened, and fiercely protective of her independence. The brilliance of this dynamic is that both may think they're conning each other. Kane believes he's reeling Lily back in, securing personal and perhaps professional influence. However, Lily may only be agreeing to Victor's suggestion and utilizing her proximity to gather information. This sets the stage for a psychological duel. Every smile, every tender word, every nostalgic reference becomes a potential weapon. The tension won't come from grand gestures but from subtle shifts, whose gaze lingers longer, whose words carry double meaning, who reveals too much. If Kane slips, Lily will have ammunition to use against him. But if Lily underestimates Kane's ability to pivot, she may find herself emotionally compromised. This storyline isn't about romance, it's about strategy masquerading as seduction. Jack's plea, the breaking point of brotherhood. Perhaps the most emotional beat of these two episodes is Jack Abbott's plea to Victoria Newman. Despite his insistence that Billy must face the consequences of his actions, Jack cannot detach himself from his role as protector. Billy is more than just a brother, he's Jack's constant reminder of responsibility, guilt, and love. By appealing to Victoria, Jack is admitting something profound: he can't save Billy alone. His tried warnings, tough love, and loyalty. None of it has worked. He is now turning to the one individual who used to know Billy's heart better than anyone else. But Victoria has her own scars. Helping Billy may feel like reopening wounds that never fully healed. And yet, the fact that Jack asks her at all says volumes about both his desperation and his faith in her. If Victoria agrees, We could see a reluctant alliance between Jack and Victoria, two exes of Victor working together to save a man they both love in different ways. Jack's despair will grow even more and Billy's downward spiral may accelerate if she refuses. Either outcome creates riveting drama. A city at risk of collision. What makes these storylines so compelling is how interconnected they are. Victor's schemes put pressure on Jack. Jack's desperation entangles Victoria. Kane's manipulations ripple through both the Chancellor and Abbott families. Relationships that were already fragile could be torn apart by Mariah's demand on Daniel. Furthermore, Lily, who is caught up in the games played by Victor and Kane, may have more power than she realizes. Genoa City isn't just a backdrop, it's a pressure cooker. Rivalries are boiling, alliances are shifting, and secrets are festering. The September 17th and 18th episodes aren't just about midweek spoilers, they are